Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my session and welcome to World Storytelling Cafe, an amazing initiative that brings storytellers from all over the world and connect them all together in a platform online. That's amazing. Breathing this new fresh life into storytelling and making it virtual and making it documented and filed. That's really a wonderful initiative. In case you don't know me and you've never attended one of my online performances, my name is Adnan and I am a storyteller all the way from Marrakesh, Morocco. And I would love to welcome you to my session and to World Storytelling Cafe. My story for the night is a story that took place in my city, in Marrakesh, a long time ago. So, without any further ado, let me tell you the story. So, once upon a long time ago, in Marrakesh, there lived a thief who came from another city, unknown city. We don't care about which city he came from, but he was in Marrakesh. And the reason he came to Marrakesh, because he wanted to repent. He wanted to walk the line again, because he got fed up with his ex-life. Just robbing people and always on the move, always running. And he wanted to start fresh. He wanted to learn a craft. And back in the days, there is no better city in Morocco to learn a craft than Marrakesh. So whatever craft you have in mind, being a lumberjack, a blacksmith, Marrakesh is is a big city for that. So you come and learn in Marrakesh. So he came there in the first couple of weeks. He was just roaming around, discovering the city, trying to make friendships, trying to get to know all the crafts that he can learn and where he can learn them, and figure out a place to rent so he can sleep, and so on. And this thief, as he was roaming, something grabbed his attention. 3 blind beggars. They are old, and they have different places in town. They beg in different places. And they will say something weird. So about these 3 friends, the first blind beggar man, is called Ibrahim. And Ibrahim would beg in Jamalna Square, in the local souk of Marrakesh. The second friend is called Muhammad. And Muhammad will stand by the big mosque of Marrakesh, Kutubiyya Mosque. Stand there waiting for people to finish their prayers and ask them for some pennies. And the third friend, Larbi, will roam around the narrow alleys of Marrakesh, knocking on doors and asking neighbors for some help. And the weird thing about these 3 blind beggar friends, they will say the same exact sentence every single day. And the same posture. They look the same and they beg the same. They will say, آمني عشيني لله ليلي بيتك بت البارح. آمني عشيني لله ليلي بيتك بت البارح. In English means, oh, who can help me with some food? May God prevent you from what happened to me last night. Oh, who can help me with some food? May God prevent you from what happened to me last night. So going back to our thief, what grabbed his attention is the fact that they will say the same exact sentence every day. And he was curious, he grew curious, and he was interested to know what happens to them every single night. One day, as our thief was in Jamalna Square, in the local souk, local market, he saw Ibrahim begging there. And actually he decided to follow him. So the thief quietly was following Ibrahim. Ibrahim did not know this, of course. And at night, that was the time, so Ibrahim would go back home. If he has a home, for sure, because he's a beggar. He's facing hard times. So the thief was following Ibrahim. So Ibrahim kept walking and walking and walking until he reached a very big house. Very fancy. And then the thief, as he was following him, he said, well, is he intending to keep begging, like knocking on doors and asking rich people for some help? Or maybe for shelter? And then Ibrahim slowly got closer to the door and brought a key and opened the door. The thief snuck inside. Ibrahim did not pay attention. Then Ibrahim was in the house as well, and he went to the kitchen. Went to the kitchen first, and he found all colors of food, delicious food. You name it, it was there. Then Ibrahim kept eating and eating and eating until he was like full, with a full stomach. Then he went to his room and he changed his old, rusty, dirty jalaba. A jalaba is a long Moroccan dress with a hoodie. He changed that into royal silky clothes. The thief was really shocked. He did not know what is happening. He was beginning the day, and at night he lives like a king. How come? So quietly he kept following him around his house. And then, when he finished eating and changed his clothes and took a bath, Ibrahim went to one of the rooms, one of the big rooms in his house, in his big house. It looked like a castle. And that room was filled with boxes. He opened all the boxes and he was pouring them on the ground. And guess what? They were filled with piles of gold and silver and diamonds. And then he opened the closet and he drew a statue. A golden statue in the shape of a horse. And he rode that horse and he was shouting gracefully and aggressively, I am the king of the world. I'm powerful. I am this, I am that. I acquired this gold because I conquered this place. I acquired this silver because I killed those people. And he was just glorifying himself. The thief understood what is happening. That those beggars made their fortune because of scamming people. Because of people's pity towards them. They made them, help them and grow rich and developed a fortune. So he decided to teach Ibrahim a lesson. So he waited for him to fall asleep and he stole all of his gold and he ran away with it. Ibrahim the next day, he woke up from his royal bed and he went to his kitchen. He found a fancy breakfast waiting for him. He ate his breakfast and he left. He left the kitchen. He went to his room. He always checks on his gold. He opened the boxes. He opened them. He poured what's inside and they were filled with sand instead of gold. He went crazy to the streets, begging people for help. Please help me. Where is my gold? Where is my silver? Like running and falling down, grabbing people by hand, shouting and crying and begging people. But people, for a lot of years, they've known him as Ibrahim the blind beggar. We give him pennies, some dirhams every now and then to help him eat. And now he's asking us for gold and silver. Maybe he has gone mental. Maybe he went crazy. People did not believe him. And as he was running around Marrakesh, crying and asking people for help, Muhammad, the second friend, Another blind beggar heard him and he told him, "My friend, Ibrahim, come over here, follow my voice." And then he went closer to him and he told him, "Please help me, I lost all my fortune." And then he told him, "I knew it, and this will happen to you. I told you, do not store your fortune in your house. You are a blind man, for God's sake. Anyone can come to your house. I told you to do as I do." And then he told him, "And what do you do with your money?" He told him, "As you can see, I have a cane. It supports me walk, and it's always in my hand. And when I sleep, it's always beside me, and it's hollow from the inside. I exchange all my gold and silver into diamonds, and they put them inside that cane. No one knows about my money." And guess what? Who knows about his money? Yes, the thief. He followed Ibrahim to see how he would react when he lost his money, and now he knows about Muhammad's diamonds. The same plan. He followed Muhammad that night to his house, and the same scenario happened again. The fancy food, and the fancy clothes, the fancy house. And then what the thief did, he waited for Muhammad to fall asleep, and he exchanged his cane with a similar, exactly identical cane. It was hollow as well, but filled with sand. And then he left with the diamonds. The next morning, Muhammad woke up and he found his cane. It felt normal. He had his breakfast. He exchanged his royal clothes into his old torn clothes, and he went outside. But as he was walking, he had a weird feeling that day. I mean, the cane, it feels the same, but he has been using it for more than 50 or 60 years. And this day, something fishy is about this cane. And he went and he started sitting for a quiet alley. And he stopped, he opened his cane, he poured, and just sand. He went crazy, shouting. He even threw away his cane and asking people for help. "Please give me my diamonds. I want my diamonds. Please, mercy." But again, people did not believe Muhammad as they didn't believe Ibrahim the last day. They know him. He begs by the mosque. When we go pray, every day, now and then, we give him some dirhams to help himself. And now he's asking us for his diamonds back. How come? They are getting crazy. And as Muhammad was shouting around like Marrakesh, running around crazily, the third blind beggar heard him, and he told him, "Muhammad, come closer. What happened to you, my friend?" He followed the voice. He was nearby, and then he told him what happened to him. And then he laughed and he told him, "I told you, you and Ibrahim, do not store your money in somewhere that can be stolen from you. You are blind man. I told you to do the same as I do." And then he told him, "What do you do to your money?" He told him, "Why do you think I have like this very big jalaba made from different tissues and fat pieces of fabric?" He told him why. He told him that because I sewed all my diamonds into my jalaba. I always have my money on me, even when I sleep. And whenever someone touches my jalaba, as it is very heavy, I wake up. So I don't get afraid about my money." And guess what? Another day, the thief learns about another friend's money. He learns about Larbi's money. But this time, it was hard. It's hard to steal that jalaba. So he had to wait for a couple of weeks. And then one day, as Larbi was roaming around like narrow alleys of Marrakesh, Larbi all of a sudden heard a voice. Salam alaikum. He said, wa alaikum salam. I told him, let's go. Oh, where do you want to take me, sir? I don't even know you. Who are you? I told him, I am an angel, and I was sent to you to take you to do pilgrimage, to take you to Mecca in Saudi Arabia. I told him, for God's sake, I am an old man, and to travel from Morocco to Mecca, it's more than a year worth of walking. I can't do that. I told him, I told you I am an angel. Just get on my back. And he got in his back, and then he was like running with him, hopping and jumping around until he was in a very, very busy, hectic, noisy place. He put Larbi down, and he told him, Larbi, you are in Mecca. Do your pilgrimage, and when you finish, I will be waiting for you to take you back home. And then Larbi excitedly starts worshipping God and saying, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika lak, inna al-hamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. And then the same voice talked to him, and he told him, what do you think you are doing with yourself? And he told him, leave me alone. I'm worshipping God. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. I'm in Mecca. He told him, how dare you say something like that? Worshipping God in such clothes, dirty, old clothes? How dare you? I told him, but I have nothing to change with. He told him, take this white piece of fabric, wear it around your body. Give me your jilab, and when you finish, I'll give it to you back. As Larbi was so excited and overwhelmed with the idea that he's in Mecca, he quickly, without giving it a thought, he took off his jalaba, gave it to the angel, and he took that piece of fabric, and he rolled it around his body, and he started roaming around. He's thinking that he's roaming around the black stone. And then another voice talked to Larbi. He told him, Salam alaikum. Sir, what do you think you are doing? He told him, for God's sake, let me worship my God. I'm in Mecca. I'm doing my pilgrimage. Let me be. And he told him, first of all, you are in a souk. Second of all, you are roaming around the shop like a fool. Those words were really heavy in Larbi's ear. So he starts paying attention to the noise around him. And indeed, it's just people shouting prices of their merchandise and haggling and having normal conversation, like everyday conversation that you can have in a souk. And here he went crazy again. The same scenario, grabbing people by hand, really crying and asking people to give him back his jalaba and his diamonds. But here some people in the souk agreed that there is something fishy about those three old beggar men. So they went to the Sultan who lived back then in Marrakesh, and they told him the story, and he invited those three blind men. And then they were obliged to tell him the whole truth, that they developed a fortune because of begging, and so on and so forth. The king was really angry, not because there is a thief in his town, but those beggars used people's kindness, people's pity towards them, and they grow a fortune. And people who would help them are more poor than them. So he told him, I'm not going to send my guards, to find your money. Just if he comes back, he comes back. If he does not, I'm not going to invest anything because of you, because you took people's kindness into your advantage. And here, as those three men, were hopeless. every day they will see, please, whoever took our money, give it back. But in vain. After 3 months, there was a young man in front of the royal court asking to see the king personally. He said that he has a very private, important matter with the king. And after some give and take, they allowed him in. He was in front of the king. Your Majesty, I would love to tell you that I was the thief who stole the money, the diamonds, the gold, the silver from those old blind men, those 3 blind beggars. And I'm here to tell you that I want to give it back. So they invited those 3 blind men, they took their money and they left. They were asked to leave Marrakesh and to live somewhere else in another city. And here the king was really, he was really curious and interested to know why that young man, after he stole that money, he came back. He told him, why did you come back, son? And why did you steal it in the first place if you know that you are going to give it back? He told him, well, I am a thief and that's my job. And I came back to Marrakesh to have a new life, to start clean. But I saw those 2 blind men. I followed them and he told him the whole story behind stealing their money. And he told him, as I told you, I came here promising myself that I'm not going to steal anymore. And when I stole that money from 3 blind men, I wanted to teach them a lesson. I did not want that money for myself. And they guess that they learned the lesson. And now I need to start my life fresh. The king really admired that thief, and he offered him a job which is the opposite of what he did back in the time. He made him the chief of the police in Marrakesh. The police back then, the royal guard. You call it whatever you like. And the thief, or the ex-thief, finished his life fighting crime, fighting beggars and fighting thieves in Marrakesh. And everyone lived happily ever after until the end of time. And this is the end of my story. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope you enjoy it. And if you did, and if you feel generous enough, and I know that you are very generous, make sure to drop some donations in the hut down below. And thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Oh, lovely people. That was a fine telling from a great storyteller. And whether they're in Morocco or just want to donate their funds to Morocco, put their hats going towards the Moroccan storytellers, anything would be incredibly appreciated. Because those tellers down in Morocco, you know, it's not come June, they'll look at their tax returns and decide what the government's going to go to them, and there's no social security and there's nothing there. They're just living on thin air, so anything you can put in the hat would be appreciated. Thank you. And however you're watching this, if you're watching it on something else, go to worldstorytellingcafe.com.